Hi, my name is Christina Robinson, and welcome to another edition of CMS Forex News. Today is Tuesday, February 5th, 2008. Let's begin with last evening in Australia. One report showed that building approvals fell steeply, dropping 16% in December from the previous month. A second report showed that retail sales growth cooled to 0.5% in December from November's 0.9%. The Reserve Bank of Australia raised rates to 7% in an attempt to slow inflationary pressures. Resilient fundamentals allowed the policymakers to raise rates, while other central banks around the world, such as the Fed and Bank of England, have been voting for rate cut policies. In the Eurozone, services PMI, the main measure of the services sector, fell from last month's release and a preliminary release from 2 weeks ago. The index cooled to 50.6, dropping lower than expected, and is another worrying sign for the European economy. The UK services sector improved slightly in January to 52.5. In a separate release, Halifax reported that house prices in January remained steady after they grew 1.4% in December. Finally, in the U.S., the ISM Non-Manufacturing Index tumbled to 44.6, putting the U.S. services sector squarely below the 50 level. The fall into contraction was larger than anticipated and adds another straw of negative releases on the back of the struggling U.S. economy. With U.S. equities falling, the news impacted carry trade pairs. First, let's take a look at the euro-dollar pair. The euro tumbled today after trading a narrow range yesterday. It sunk about 180 points following its Europe and Germany's worse-than-expected data on the services sector. The U.S.'s own negative services sector release was not able to give euro strength against the greenback, as the pair was continuing its decline as of 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The dollar-yen pair had been gaining overnight, reaching 107.71 after a strong burst in the European session. The ISM non-manufacturing report put an end to that. The pair started falling steeply after the report as U.S. equity markets pulled back. The Dow Jones Industrial Index was down 250 points by 11 a.m. The pound-yen pair fell as risk aversion increased and traders pulled out of carry trade. From its session high during European trading, the pair fell 250 pips to test support near 209.50. This was not below Friday's low, but the pair is now at the bottom level of its recent trading range. The Australian-US dollar pair was unable to garner any upward momentum after the Reserve Bank of Australia raised rates to 7%. In European trading, the pair began falling, and this drop accelerated after the poor services data in the U.S. The pair was down more than 100 pips from its session high. The U.S. dollar also advanced against the Canadian dollar with a sluggish U.S. economy and global growth on its heels. The loonie fell on concern that demand for the nation's commodity exports will diminish. Oil prices retreated more than $1 today. The gains by the greenback over its northern counterpart were the biggest in a month. The UK will release reports on consumer confidence and retail prices. The U.S. will give quarterly results for labor costs and productivity, and Canada will reveal its IV PMI. And that's it for today's news. Join us again tomorrow right here at CMSFX.com.